Some people bother you just by existing. They walk into a room, say nothing, and something in you stiffens. Your chest tightens, your jaw clenches. And deep down, you know it's not about them, but your body reacts like it's under attack. Why? Because it isn't the person that's hurting you. It's what they awaken in you. Carl Jung didn't sugarcoat this. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. That's not a nice quote. That's a mirror. And most people are terrified of what they'll see when they look into it. If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. You're not angry because someone disrespected you. You're angry because part of you still needs to be respected. You're not triggered because they ignored you. You're triggered because there's a part of you still screaming to be seen, decades after no one did. Here's the ugly truth. Most of your emotional reactions have very little to do with the present. They're echoes of the first time you were rejected, unheard, humiliated, left behind. And those echoes will run your life until you decide to listen. Jung wasn't offering coping strategies. He was offering transformation. He was saying, stop trying to fix the world. Face the war inside. So here's your test for today. Don't trust your irritation. Interrogate it. That person who makes your blood boil. What part of you are they waking up? What memory? What wound? What truth you've been running from? The day you stop seeing others as enemies and start seeing them as messengers is the day you become unshakable. You weren't born reactive. You were trained to be. Trained to hold your tongue, to stay calm, to never be too much. Over time, you built a mask, a persona, to survive, to be accepted, to avoid pain. And now, you're still wearing it. But here's the twist. The mask doesn't just protect you, it traps you. Jung called it the persona, the version of you the world finds acceptable. Not real, not whole, just acceptable. And anything or anyone that threatens that version, that's your trigger. You say you hate arrogant people, but maybe you were never allowed to be proud of yourself. You say lazy people annoy you, but maybe you were raised to hustle for love. And now, their rest feels like an insult to your exhaustion. You don't hate them. You hate the parts of you that had to die to be loved. Let that sink in. Most of what you can't stand in others is just a reminder of what you had to suppress in yourself. And your anger? It's not about them crossing a line. It's about your shadow screaming, why can they do what I never could? You react because you haven't integrated. The shadow, your forgotten anger, jealousy, ego, sexuality, sadness. It's all still alive in you. And every time someone activates it, you either explode or suppress again. But there's a third option, awareness. What if you stopped trying to be calm and spiritual and above it all? What if you just got real about who you are, rage and all? That's not regression, that's honesty. And only honest people become whole. The person who triggers you is not your enemy. They're a clue, a message, a chance to stop performing and start integrating. Ever felt like someone barely said a word, but it hit you like a punch? Like your whole nervous system collapsed over something that felt small? That wasn't weakness. That wasn't drama. That was memory, alive in your body. Jung called it a complex, an emotional landmine buried deep inside you, waiting for the right moment to explode. And when someone steps on it, you don't just react to them. You react to every moment in your past that felt just like this one. The betrayal, the dismissal, the abandonment. This is why you're exhausted. You're not just fighting with people. You're fighting with ghosts, and they always win, because you never see them coming. Here's the hard part. You think you're mad at your boss for ignoring your idea, but it's really about your dad, who never looked up from his phone. You think your partner's sarcasm is the issue, but deep down, it's your high school teacher who humiliated you in front of the class. The present is just the trigger. The pain is historical. And until you face that, you're trapped, reacting like it's happening now, over and over. Same roles, different actors. Jung's path isn't about healing through positivity. It's about facing the wound, sober and unfiltered. And most people never do, because that means admitting they've been performing their entire adult life. It means feeling what they've buried for decades. But if you want to be free, truly free, you have to go back, not to stay, not to blame, but to rescue the version of you that never got closure. Start here. The next time someone makes you feel too much, ask, who made me feel this before? Trace the emotion. Find the origin. Because once you name the ghost, it loses its power. There's a moment, after the pain, after the analysis, after the emotional storm, when something strange happens. You stop reacting, not because you're numb, not because you're avoiding, but because there's simply nothing left to defend. This is what Jung pointed to as individuation, becoming who you are, not who the world told you to be. And when that happens, you become unshakable, not because the world got kinder, but because you no longer outsource your identity to it. You're no longer waiting for approval to feel worthy, no longer triggered by criticism because it doesn't touch anything unresolved, no longer inflamed by rejection because you no longer tie your existence to being chosen. This is the most dangerous version of you, not loud, not vengeful, not reactive, but sovereign. And make no mistake, people will feel that. Some will be drawn to your calm like it's oxygen. Others will be disturbed by your silence because they can't provoke what they no longer control. You'll sit in rooms where old patterns used to dominate you, and suddenly, nothing happens. The same passive-aggressive comments, the same manipulative tone, but they fall flat. Because you're not in the arena anymore. You left the stage, you stopped playing the game. This is what emotional power looks like. Not dominance, but detachment. Not pretending you don't care, but genuinely no longer needing their reaction to determine your peace. And the best part? You start seeing others differently too. Not as enemies, not even as obstacles, just as reflections. Some still show you where you've healed, others where there's work to do. Either way, you're no longer afraid of the mirror. Imagine walking into the same space that used to unravel you. The family gathering, the office, the social circle, and this time, nothing sticks. The energy's still chaotic, the people still unpredictable, but inside you, silence. Not the silence of suppression, the silence of self-possession. You see, people think peace is passive. It's not. Peace is a decision, a muscle, a boundary. It's built one confrontation at a time, not with others, but with yourself. And when you finally meet the parts of you that always needed to react, to prove, to defend, they calm down, not because they're over it, but because you heard them. This is what Jung meant by making the unconscious conscious, not turning off your emotions, but turning on your awareness. So when someone tries to shame you, you recognize it, not as truth, but as projection. When someone dismisses you, you don't collapse, because your worth was never on the table to begin with. This inner stillness, it's not about being cold, it's about being full enough to hear someone's disrespect and still not take it personally, full enough to witness someone's chaos without making it your responsibility. And here's the secret. Once you have it, people feel it. They stop messing with you, not because you're intimidating, but because you're unavailable. Unavailable for games, for drama, for roles you outgrew. Your presence says, without a word, I don't need this. I know who I am. You become the quiet in the storm, the eye of the hurricane. And from there, you no longer react to the noise. You reveal it. Here's the hardest truth no one wants to say out loud. As long as you're trying to win, the argument, the approval, the validation, you're still trapped, still tethered to the world for your worth, still hoping someone else will finally give you what you never gave yourself. But when you become whole, not perfect, just whole, you stop needing to win. You stop needing to prove. You stop needing them. Jung didn't promise happiness. He promised wholeness. And wholeness means this. You are no longer fragmented, no longer split between the mask you wear and the self you hide. You've gone into your shadow, faced your monsters, listened to your rage, your grief, your need, and you didn't flinch. You didn't run. You didn't silence it. You stayed. And now you walk into rooms you used to shrink in. You hear voices that once made you crumble, but something in you has changed. You're not hardened. You're just centered. You finally trust yourself more than their opinion. You finally see that what once triggered you was never about them. It was always about what you hadn't yet healed. You don't flinch anymore, because there's nothing left to hide. This is the real gift Jung left us. Not immunity, but integration. You still feel, but you don't fall. You still care, but you don't collapse. You're not numb. You're awake. So the next time someone tries to get under your skin, remember this. The power is not in being untouchable. It's in being unshaken, because you know where the feeling comes from. And because you've done the work, you no longer need to react. You respond, you remain, you reclaim yourself. And no one can take that from you again. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.